Hi, this is Dylan Cox and this is my Sunday results wrap up. Been away for a while but we're back now. Andre Ward returned as well. I'm not comparing myself to Andre Ward in any shape or form, but he returned last night after a long layoff from a shoulder injury which he had surgery for, and he looked good in beating undefeated and perhaps unheralded EDWIN Rodriguez over 12. It was a little bit of a messy fight. 4 points were deducted in the 4th round. Bit of a strange scenario there. 2 points from each fighter by the referee for holding, clinching, not listening to instructions, and it was a messy fight for those first 5 or 6 rounds, but Ward settled in, did what he had to do, looked good in spurts, used that old ring crafter here, frustrated Rodriguez but also made him miss, made him pay, looked sharp, and came away with what would have been a shutout points victory had it not been for the points deductions there in the 4th. But Ward marches on now, back settled into super middleweight. Good to have him back in that division, and he'll hopefully try and pin down a rematch with Carl Froch. Now it's more in Carl Froch's interest to have that fight, but Ward really doesn't have any other big names at 168 to fight, so unless he goes up to 175 to face a Kovalev or even maybe the winner of Bellew Stevenson, Froch is really the biggest money fight for him, and a fight that may entice Andre Ward out of California. Guess where he fought last night? California. But he did look good, and it's good to have him back in that division. Carl Froch, don't forget, faces George Groves this weekend at the Manchester Arena on a stacked bill in a fight that many people think is too soon for Groves. So assuming Froch gets through that, then a fight with Ward could happen in the new year sometime, maybe in the spring, and it would be a bumper event, maybe down here in London, or Froch may travel to the States, possibly even Vegas. Check out the interview that Radio Raheem did with Ward after the fight. It's on our YouTube channel. Make sure you check that out. Check out his one with Virgil Hunter, his one with Rodriguez, and the great interview he did with the referee who explains those points deductions. Also returning to the ring is Mexican multi-weight champion and coming out of retirement actually, Jorge Arce, who had lost by knockout to Nonito Donaire in his last fight in December of last year, decided to come back and took on unheralded Jose Carmona in a featherweight contest in a fight that he dominated, and he won by 8th round technical knockout. It was a great fight, but he did prove to be just too much for the late replacement Carmona, and sadly we hear via Arce's Twitter that Carmona is actually in quite a bad way and he is suffering from the effects of that fight, and we do send our prayers and thoughts to Jose and hope that he makes a very swift and healthy recovery. Also returning to action was super bantamweight and former featherweight world champion Daniel Ponce de Leon, and he outpointed Joxin Hernandez over 10 in Mexico in a pedestrian kind of fight. He won by pretty much wide scores there. He did look okay, officially dropped Hernandez in the 4th, I think it was it the 8th? I'm getting confused now, but his hand touched the ground. Referee recorded it as a count, so it did make it a 10-8 round. But De Leon, I don't know where he's going from here, to be honest. He's been in some hard fights, he's been stopped before. Featherweight still seems a bit of a struggle for him, and I would just wonder how much he's got left in the tank, but he'll be in exciting fights no matter how long he decides to box on for. Over here in the UK, James Degale, super middleweight WBC silver champion and former European champion, only one loss on his record, of course, against Georgie Groves in that grudge match back in 2011, returned to action last night in somewhat subdued fashion against DYAH Davis, son of a former Olympic gold medalist himself, Howard Davis Jr. Now Davis and Degale got off to a fairly good start. Degale was boxing well for the first 6 rounds, actually looked quite good, slick, but he does this cuffing thing with his shots and he can look a bit awkward and a bit clumsy at times, and I think he was getting tagged a little bit, and Davis did give him a few things to think about. And what's interesting is that in the second half of the fight, Degale was definitely visibly slowing down, getting hit a bit more. And there's a frustration coming through in him in the post-fight press conference with his promoter, Mick Hennessy. You can see that he wants big fights now. He's lined up for a fight against a Mexican whose name escapes me. And then he'll hopefully fight Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. in what will be a final eliminator for a world title, if not for a version of a world title. But can he wait that long? And really, is he inspiring enough to draw the attention to him? He's on Channel 5, he's got a ready-made audience, but he still has this kind of like him or hate him attitude, not just personality-wise, but when he fights as well. And I just think he needs something big to push him forward. He needs a really good performance, a really star-building performance, and he needs that against an opponent that make him look good. And Hennessy and Degale need to work together on something to make sure his next fight is a big, exciting fight that could put him on the map, because George Groves, Carl Froch, whoever wins that fight isn't going to be looking to James Degale, and whoever loses it probably doesn't want a piece of James Degale either. So he needs to do something big in his next fight. Vladislav Glaskov returned to action last night as well. He won over 10 over late replacement Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson stepping in for the injured, or should I say sick, Thomas Adamic. That would have been a good fight, but Glaskov dominated early with his long reach jab, much taller guy, but to Garrett Wilson's credit, he came and made a fight of it, got the crowd on their feet around the 7th, really staggered the big guy, landed some great shots. It was an entertaining fight, and will do Glazkov's stock quite well because he'll have gone up in stock over that exciting television victory, and hopefully a fight with Adamic can still be made and those two can still get it on. And a last little bit of news, Vasily Lomachenko, the former double Olympic champion, world champion as an amateur, etc., who's only had one pro fight, if you discard the WSB fights he has confirmed that he will be facing Orlando Salido for the WBO featherweight title in March next year in his second pro outing. That is outrageous if it's true. He said it on his Facebook. We don't know if that's confirmed yet. Top Rank haven't said anything, but that would be an amazing fight. And who knows, Lomachenko, who looked good in his first fight as a pro, could go out there and take the title from Salido. It'd be a great fight to watch. Make sure you stay tuned to our channel. Plenty of interviews to watch from Radio Raheem in the States. We've got plenty of stuff coming up here. We're going to be doing a Froch versus Grove / Pacquiao Rios preview. That's going to be on the channel soon, so don't forget to like, share, comment on this video, and most of all subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you same place, same time next week here with the Sunday results wrap up. It's me, Dylan Cox for SecondsOut.com. Have a good week, fight fans.